Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Scoop Slam Podcast. We're here once again talking about rumors, talking about Raw. But before we get any further into this episode, let's go ahead and clap it up. The Lakers made the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
It was a miracle, man. They came back. They start off the year 2-10, ended in the playoffs.
Look at us now,
Look at us
facing
now.
the Grizzlies.
Hey, I think we're gonna beat them in 6.
I can see it. I can see it going to 7. But before we get any further, let me introduce myself. I'm Micah, one of your hosts, and I'm joined, as you heard earlier, as always, by my co-host. He is Mr. Analytics. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, good to be back here with you, man. Ready to be scooped and slammed, talking about Raw. Maybe throw in a little rumors in there and talk about stuff we didn't talk about on the WrestleMania show.
Yeah, some stuff we hit on for just a minute, but we didn't finish with. And it's pretty big news, so we couldn't not talk about it. And that will start us off for the rumors for this week. The Endeavor sale to, or WWE sale to Endeavor, huge news that was the day after WrestleMania. And like I said, if you listen to the WrestleMania episode, we talked about that a little bit. Let me get some official verbiage here from Reuters.
Who?
It's Reuters, Reuters.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's an official site.
Yeah, big fans of those guys.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, let me move to a more credible source than Variety magazine.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yep. Endeavor confirms WWE UFC deal to create a $21 billion sports entertainment company.
Wow.
The Endeavor Group Holding and World Wrestling Entertainment said Monday that they had signed a definitive, easy for me to say, agreement to form a new publicly listed company consisting of 2 complementary global sports and entertainment brands, the UFC and the WWE. Upon closing, Endeavor will hold a 51% controlling interest in the new company, and existing WWE shareholders will hold a 49% interest. This new company will be led by Ari Emanuel, CEO, who will continue his role as CEO of Endeavor, Vince McMahon, executive chairman of the board, and Mark Shapiro, who will be president and COO of both Endeavor and the new company. Dana White will continue his role as president of the UFC, and Nick Khan will serve as president of the WWE. And then there's some other stuff more about their combined revenue and the value of each company. The enterprise value of the UFC is $12.1 billion, and the WWE is $9.3 billion. And this isn't in the article, but I believe that I read this somewhere that Vince now has 18% of the shareholdings in that company. So a lot to digest, a lot to take in. Vince McMahon does not own WWE anymore. What are your initial thoughts that we may have not touched on in the WrestleMania episode?
Man, it's massive. It's huge. Does this have an effect on the Peacock deal for the future? Like, do you think they'll re-up on the Peacock deal? Because it expires in 2026.
I think it's going to be a bidding war, especially since UFC already has that, I guess, pathway carved with Disney Plus and ESPN. I don't know. I think it's whoever forks over the most amount of money.
What if they merge UFC and WWE to one streaming service?
I would prefer that.
Could you see that happening?
I could see it. I mean, the WWE Network was a pretty successful streaming service on its own for a while. I think it just depends on if they think that's the smartest move or not. I mean, Peacock paid how much for that deal, and I'm sure ESPN paid a whole lot for the UFC. So that's a lot of revenue to not be taking in
Yeah,
that they would have to account to get on subscriptions.
because UFC's they're on ESPN Plus, like the streaming service, right?
Yeah, which is in conjunction with the Disney family, I guess.
Gotcha. So, are there archive footage of UFC events that you can watch on ESPN Plus? Like, you pop on ESPN Plus and watch some old Chael Sonnen highlights or UFC 95? Can you do that on ESPN Plus?
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Because I can, I mean, maybe I don't know, man. Part of me misses the WWE network, but a, another part of me, if I'm a businessman, if I'm Nick Khan or Aria, what was his name? Manuel?
Ari Emanuel.
Yeah, if I'm those guys, I want to make the most money, and the most money would be to shill out for the Disney guys, right?
I would think
But
that would probably
how would that change pay per view for WWE at that point? Will we go back to a $60 pay per view format? I don't know about you, Micah, but I don't know. You know, I love WWE. Been a fan for uh, 22, 21 years, but I ain't paying $65 for WrestleMania Backlash, bro. It ain't happening.
no.
It ain't happening.
And see, the thing is, like, I wonder how much that they think that they could get if they went alone. Because think about the pay-per-views for the UFC are $80 now.
Jeez, are they?
Yeah, insane. And the thing that's really crazy about it to me, you can get the pre-show and the everything but the main card you can watch as an ESPN Plus member.
Oh,
So
okay.
you pay what, $10 or $15 a month to watch that?
Yeah.
You're paying $80 for 5 fights because all you're paying for is the main card.
My God,
So
crazy.
if they went on their own, I think they would have to do WWE pay-per-views at like $50 or $60 to make their money back.
And then the boys will have to get a different cut too.
Yeah.
And then you would have to change pretty much the whole pay scale of WWE at that point, right? You would think.
Yeah, because then it would be on, who's on the card, who's not, where are you on the card?
Exactly.
So I don't know. And that's the thing about this sale is like right now it may not affect too much day to day. But for the future, there's a lot that I mean is in the air. And WWE has the largest wrestling tape library of anybody. It's not just their stuff. They've got old territories,
Yeah.
WCW.
They got ECW. They got uh, Stampede. They got AWA. They got Ohio Valley Wrestling. They got Florida Championship Wrestling from like the 80s. They got the new Florida Championship Wrestling that used to be a developmental territory. They got, you name it, they got it. They own every, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, they own every single major wrestling territory footage out there.
Aside from Ring of Honor and AEW, they've got it pretty much.
And Impact.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I don't know.
No love for Impact?
Well, I mean,
Come on, man.
soured on Impact like 13 years ago, just like the rest of
Oh,
us.
man, you were a fan of Orlando Jordan's antics in 2000.
No, dude, don't you throw that on me. Now Jeff Hardy, all right, I can get behind that. RVD,
Okay.
Mr. Anderson,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm listening.
Aces and eights.
Yeah. Yeah. Shark Boy.
Okay, I'm still listening.
Really?
Hey, Shark Boy's over in this household.
Only if he's doing the Steve Austin impression. That's it.
Yep, exactly. See, Stone Cold wasn't there, so it was fine. We had new Stone Cold.
You're right. You're right. So, what does this mean for crossover potential? Do you see that happening, or do you think UFC is gonna be? They're gonna be so far removed from WWE.
I think it opens the door for more people. Like, I'm not gonna say that they're gonna push them that way, but like, hey, let me think. Who's a
Connor.
I don't think they could get Connor to do it because I think he's honestly bigger than the UFC, or he's on their level. He's kind of like The Rock with WWE. Like, I would say maybe I don't know who's somebody.
John Jones.
I think his track record is too rough for the WWE.
No,
Maybe like an Israel Adesanya.
bro. If
Say
if they can sign Gabe Stevenson with a rape allegation under his belt, I don't think they care about what John Jones did.
yeah, but that's an allegation.
It's I don't know, man. If you read up on it, it looks pretty.
I
I don't know.
I don't know anything about it
I'll send you a link.
personally.
I'll send you a link later. You draw your own
All right.
conclusions.
Well, say an Israel Adesanya, a guy who
Hmm.
kind of he's got a little bit of gift of gab in the UFC.
Okay.
Say he starts losing a couple fights, the UFC is like, hey, we know you're a draw for the company, but maybe, you're falling a little behind. Because typically, I mean, Tyron Woodley lost like 4 fights in a row, and I think they cut him. So, they might be like, hey, if you want to go try out this WWE thing, they would be more than, they'd probably get with Vince or Triple H. Hey, would you like to have this guy come in, maybe cut some promos, do some training? If they're open to it, I could see the door being more open than it used to be.
Dana White just seemed so salty in interviews after this merger was announced.
Probably because Vince is higher in power than him.
It's
What a world we're living in.
bro, it's crazy. I mean, we were just not even a year ago. We're talking like goodbye Vince and hello the Triple H era. We're in a new era of WWE, and then less than a year later, we're changing the whole outlook of the company, and the future is looking. I don't know what the future is looking like. Who knows where we're going to be in another year from now?
There's no telling. We might be at a local medical facility after damages taken in a box-like structure.
Please stop. Come on, man. What else?
We'll move on, but speaking of injuries, Drew McIntyre is unhappy in the WWE, reportedly from Bleacher Report, due to injuries, a mix of creative and money. And this report is, like I said, from Bleacher Report from Mike Chiari, if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. And he cites Wade Keller of PW Torch for the primary blame of his dissatisfaction is creative and money. Now, they reported that his contract is set to expire within 9 months, and he was waiting until closer to the end of his deal before potentially signing a new one. Per Wade Keller, McIntyre has not been happy with WWE's contract renewal offers, and WWE is taking seriously the possibility that he is going to let his deal run out rather than agree to something that he believes is less than what he deserves or less than what he thinks he has coming. He was pulled from Friday's SmackDown from last week and a related autograph signing, but it may have been due to injuries after his WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Which was believed to be sustained at his WrestleMania match, but reports came out today that he was injured going into the match.
Yeah, he's been dinged up a lot for the last couple months.
So really, I'll stop with the article there. I've got one thing I want to mention before I turn it over to you. Remember a couple months ago when they were not in his hometown, but close to his home area, and it was Clash of the Castle, and he was going against Roman Reigns, and he was one of the biggest stars in the company. And apparently, they were back and forth on the decision, but they ended up not going with him. And now he has kind of been relegated to mid card, which they had a great Intercontinental Championship match of the year contender at WrestleMania. But do you think him not getting his moment and now he kind of feels like, well, what's left for me to do? Because they're obviously going to keep it on Roman, and I don't think I'm going to be the guy to take it off of him. Do you think any of that is playing into this as well?
Uh,
And I'll turn it over to you.
yes and no. The creative hasn't been great for him coming out of that Roman feud. He had that little feud with Karrion Kross. He won it, but what did Karrion Kross benefit anything from that feud? Did Drew benefit anything from that feud? No, not really.
Mm.
Not really. I mean, the WrestleMania match could have been the best Mania match of the weekend. So I mean, that was great. However, the lead up to get that match, it was okay, but I can see why he would be a little ticked off with creative. However, I think WWE would be crazy not to re-sign a guy like Drew McIntyre.
He fits the WWE mold too well to me. And if he didn't resign, it's almost a 100% given that he is going to be picked up by AEW. So I don't think that they can afford to let a talent like that go to the other company because, in my opinion, he would instantly be a top star over there. He's one of the most recognizable people in WWE right now. So I can understand his gripe, I guess, but I really want to know what money they're offering him because I think in his mind, he's a main event guy and he wants to be paid like a main event guy. I don't think WWE values him at that.
Well, man, it comes down to those two things that Jim Ross always talks about: cash and creative. You got to have at least one or the other. Bring that to the table, and of course, cash is gonna be the biggest factor. But I think he's using it more as leverage. Because man, Randy Orton did this a while back too. I believe it was 2020 ish. He was sending hints out that might go to AEW, and all the dirt sheets were on board saying, there's a possibility that WWE is gonna let Randy Orton walk, but it was all just a ploy to get more money. So maybe this is Drew doing the same thing. Because I mean,
Dolph,
when he, yeah, Dolph too, yeah, Dolph, bro, when he got cut the first time, he always talked glowingly in interviews about WWE and how he wanted to come back and make things right. So I don't think he necessarily wants to leave. I mean, his buddies are here in WWE. You're a semi main event guy. I just think maybe they add another zero to the contract, man. It'll get it done.
I mean, time will only tell. I, if I would, let me, how should I phrase
Let me
this?
ask you this. So,
Okay.
you think New Japan would be a viable destination for a guy like Drew? Big guy, hits hard, that strong style in Japan. You think that would be an option?
If he didn't go to AEW, I think he would go to New Japan, and I think he would be
Right.
the top. What do they call it? Gaijin
Yeah.
over there, because he fits the perfect. He's big, foreign, hit like you said, hits hard, has been around the world, has been a WWE champion,
Yeah.
and I think that's a guy that they could put that world title on and feel confident with it.
You remember Moxley when he left WWE? He did New Japan for a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe Drew does the same thing.
I mean, I could see it. It would get his stock up, and then, if he hangs around for a couple months, doesn't sign with AEW or WWE, and builds a stock up in New Japan, well, then, it makes it adds another zero maybe.
And then, Micah, we're forgetting another aspect. Going back to the last story, WWE's in cost cutting mode right now. They're not
Yep.
signing new guys, apparently. So, how much of that is playing in a factor of giving Drew McIntyre a new big deal?
I think it definitely is. I think that's probably why he's insulted with the offer, is because they're not giving him what he wants because they don't want to end up paying him.
It's tough, man, because when mergers like that happen, cuts or they're usually gonna follow real quick after the merger. I mean, just like WCW when they merged with what was it, AOL, Time Warner, bro. I mean, they pretty much cut the whole entire wrestling company from the budget.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Time will tell. I don't want to place any bets, but if I had to, I think Drew's going to stay in WWE. But it would be cool to see him in AEW because I think he would add a big main event feel. I think he would instantly be inserted into their top notch.
I don't have any faith in AEW about, man, because every acquisition they've had from the WWE side, who has panned out into a main event guy, Micah? Who? Other than Brian.
Brian.
Okay, Brian, CM Punk, but that's it.
Moxley.
Okay, Moxley.
Jericho.
No, he was with the company already. Like he started with the company.
Oh, you're talking about acquisitions like after the company
Yeah,
already started?
yeah.
Mm,
We got
I mean,
Malachi. You got Miro. You got Andrade, Adam Cole. Who has panned out? Nobody. Paige. We talked about her being the biggest waste of money in AEW history.
set the world on fire with that conversation.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I see your point, but I think Drew is bigger than all of those guys because not Moxley, not Brian, not Punk, not Jericho, but he's been a WWE champion. Like, because think about, what was Andrade's peak in WWE? What was Malachi's peak in WWE? What was Keith Lee's peak in WWE? I mean, I don't know. They've all kind of just been relegated back to mid card.
what was Drew's peak? He was champ during the pandemic. There was no fans.
Yeah, but he was going to be champ before the pandemic.
But he was never champ in front of fans, though. Nobody was there. Man, if you become WWE champion and nobody's there to watch it, are you really WWE champion? They could have put the title on Jinder Mahal at that point. It wouldn't have mattered. They didn't have to sell any tickets. Bro, I'm just being real.
He won the Rumble.
He did win the Rumble, but he didn't win the big one in front of people. So who cares? They could have put the title on Jey Uso, Micah. It wouldn't have mattered. Would not have
Should
mattered.
have.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. But I'm just saying, though, there was no fans to buy tickets. We don't know how Drew could have done as WWE champion because he hasn't been WWE champion with fans. And
I don't know.
You say what you want. You can blame it on the pandemic. Yes, that probably played a big factor in it. But fans tuned out in droves when he was WWE champion. Ratings was down.
I don't think that was his fault, though.
Who we gonna blame it on, Mike? He was champ.
Well, blame it on
Okay.
those non-mask wearing folks.
I thought you were about to say on Retribution because they didn't all wear masks.
Oh well. Well, hey, maybe they were the only ones that they were following their protocol. Look at all those other heathens. Anyways, overall, you think he's staying or walking?
He'll stay.
All right, well. So we'll move on to the other side of the pond for the show and the company.
Oof.
AEW is booking, and they have promoted or started to promote a August show in London, England. Wembley Stadium capacity is 90,000. Tony Khan announced this last Dynamite, and we didn't release an episode due to some illness and holidays and all that good stuff going on. But I knew we had to talk about it. So AEW in Wembley Stadium, August 27th, I believe it's going to be a week before All Out. This is All In. So I don't really have anything wrote down. I know I read
Wait,
earlier this week.
wait. You said a week before All Out. What do you? Wait a minute. So this ain't All Out, the stadium show?
No. They're doing All In, and then the week later they're doing All Out.
What?
Yeah.
What?
At least that's what I've heard.
Wait a minute. They're having 2 pay-per-views 2 weeks in a row?
That's what I heard.
Wait,
Don't shoot the messenger.
wait. No, that can't be right. Is that real? No. Are you sure?
Let me see what I can dig up.
Is ROH, is that gonna be the pay-per-view all out? Or is it, you said All In first, right?
I don't. All In would be first, which is August 27th. Typically, All Out is the first week of September.
Yeah.
So that would put them back to back.
This is the first All In they've had since the first All In, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's got to be an ROH show. It has to be, right?
I don't know. This
No way. There ain't no way they're running 2 pay-per-views 2 weeks in a row. No way.
according to Anthony Bowens on Twitter.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is
Somebody come on now, don't bury the Acclaimed. Everybody loves the Acclaimed.
What's up, Matt?
The answer, oh well, screw the JAS. His nipples are hard. Get him out of here. The answer is no. During a conversation on Twitter, the former tag team champion clarified that the event will occur the following week of AEW All In. He commented because somebody said, Bowens, does this replace All Out for this year? And he said, no, this is All In. The following week is All Out. So
What?
I would assume that he has some kind of idea, but I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
That makes no sense. What are they gonna have? Bro, how many matches are they gonna book for those 2 pay-per-views?
God, oh my God, what a rough 2 weeks of wrestling.
Jeez, there ain't no way. That has to be a mistake, man. Like,
Maybe it'll be like late September. That would make sense to me.
yeah, that would. And if it is so close together, that would mean it would have to be an ROH show. It has to be.
But can ROH sell out the United Center if that's where they go? I'm assuming that's where they would go because that's where they always go for All Out.
Did they announce the United Center?
No, not yet. I'm just saying they always go to Chicago.
Oh, they're probably the Now Arena or whatever, like the smaller venue in Chicago. They're not gonna go to All.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They'll go to that little 10,000 seat arena, which isn't a small arena by no means. I mean, that's bigger than stuff we have around here in, Southeast Alabama.
Yeah.
Time will tell, but bro, the Wembley thing is pretty massive though, right? This is a big win for them.
It's a huge show, and that's a lot of people to put in a stadium. I read something online that the internal goal was 40,000.
Yeah, if they can get anywhere near that, that would be a win for AEW. If they can get because their all-time biggest attended show was Arthur Ashe Stadium in, what was that, Queens, that did like 23,000 people. So if they can get anywhere, I mean, 30, 40,000, that's massive. I mean, sure, it may not look that full, but there's ways to shoot around that.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they could just tape off one side of the arena. I'm not trying to say this to get at WWE, but I'm saying when they ran Nashville for SummerSlam, they only filled up half the arena, and watching on the TV, you wouldn't know any different.
No, no, not at all. It's they're gonna have to book some major matches though to get 40, 50, maybe 60,000 people in there. They have to book a major match. What would you book? What's your main event? If you're booting up WWE 2K23, you're playing Universe mode, you're booking this Wembley show. What's Micah putting in the main event?
So I've got two.
Oh, Fatal Four Way.
No, no, no. So uh, there's one I think you could do that's kind of obvious.
Nah, I know. Jericho versus Punk.
No, get out of here. Punk and FTR versus Kenny and the Bucks.
Okay.
I think that I don't even think it needs a title. I just think the match itself because we both know the UK has a pretty rabid wrestling fan base,
Of course.
and I would say that most of them are smart.
Sure.
Most people know about this storyline, and I think if they did it right with some work shoot promos and some stuff that makes you, dang, is he being for real? Is he lying? I think that could do it. My other one, just off the top of my head, would be for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, MJF versus CM Punk.
Hmm. You know,
But
I can. Wouldn't that? Wouldn't you be leaving money on the table? Because you could split the Punk and FTR match up in two different matches there. Put FTR against the Bucks and their third match, because they only had two matches since they have been the same company for 3 years at this point. They've only had two matches. And then you could have Punk versus, and I'm not a big fan of old Kenny, but you could have him versus Kenny in another marquee match.
well, what if you did that at All Out, or vice versa?
When's that? I forget, man. I forget when these pay-per-views are.
That's the one we were saying that is probably going to be the week after,
Oh,
or maybe the month after, but they're going to be pretty close. So
okay.
you
Yeah,
could feasibly run that angle through both
sure.
shows.
Yeah, you could, but I'm hoping they don't have that a week after. My, can I tell you one that I got?
Go ahead.
What if you do Sting's retirement match? Sting versus Darby.
Oh, I don't know about Sting versus Darby.
Why not? It's been building. They've been aligned together for 3 years. Who better to
Who do you
retire the
turn?
Stinger?
But who do you turn?
You know who you turn. You turn Darby.
Mm,
Or maybe you keep him
okay.
babyface, man. They kept Shawn babyface when he retired Rick.
Well, I guess that's true. Okay, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
MJF versus Sting for the world title.
Mm, I don't.
Title versus career.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I like that. I do like it. But I don't know, man. Darby, I feel like he could benefit more from the rub from Sting. MJF's already a made man.
That's true.
He's wrestled Punk in main event matches. He's been aligned as a main event. Well, he's been considered a main event guy for the last couple years at this point. Darby hasn't really had a marquee feud on a pay per view yet, has he?
Nah, I think his biggest one was probably MJF versus Darby at Full Gear 21.
And I wouldn't even consider that a big feud because that wasn't even the top three feuds going into that pay per view, Micah. Like, did
Nah.
we really care about that match when we got together to watch pay per view?
No, and I mean it was a really good match. It just wasn't what anybody was. Well, Punk versus Darby. I forgot about that. But that really wasn't a feud. That was more just Punk's first match back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. We didn't even think about this. What's Mr. Bill Goldberg doing that night?
I was about to bring it up, but you took my thunder. I mean, hey, man, look. Say what you want to about his in-ring talent.
No.
I would give Bill Goldberg like probably a mil or something to just be like, come in and do like we'll sign a 5-week deal or like a month deal. Come in, do a program, have a go home match, retire.
Come in, spear QT Marshall a few times, jackhammer, and then leave forever.
Yep. And you know Tony's a mark for WCW.
Oh, most definitely. Goldberg was the guy that he wanted when he first started the company. But Goldberg
Really?
re-signed to a new contract. Yeah. He was one of the guys he wanted to bring in.
And, say what you want to, and I know his in-ring is not good now.
No.
He would at least bring in like 5,000 fans, I think.
It would get some mainstream attention.
Yes.
It would get casual fans' interest. Now, whether that's good for the product, that's debatable because his last few years in WWE were atrocious. Like I don't know if you remember the famous Saudi Arabia match he had with Undertaker, where he almost died and he almost killed Undertaker.
Seen clips.
Yeah. You remember? Was that on The Last Ride? Did they cover that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And then he came in, squashed the Fiend, which I'm still mad about because the Fiend didn't lose. That was his first loss against Goldberg. Like he needed it. And then he squashed your man Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam, Michael. You forget about that?
God, Ziggler took one of the best spear bumps I've ever seen in my life. That's what I'm relegated to as a Ziggler fan at this point. It's just like, oh man, look at Dolph. Look at those good bumps.
Oh man,
he ain't gonna win.
I'm surprised you're still a Goldberg fan after that.
Well, I got a nostalgic heart.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is me from an unbiased lens, because I'm an unbiased guy on this podcast. Unlike you.
Oh.
Yeah. Unlike you, Mr. Phil Brooks fan club leader. Goldberg has been...
The shoe is a 10.5.
Well, and it fits right on the dot. But Goldberg has been cooked for years now, Micah. Years. He hasn't had a good match since that WrestleMania match he had with Brock. What was that, 2017? That was 6 years ago, man. It would be...
That'll make you feel old.
Well, yeah. Dang, I was just a young buck when that happened. But look, the point is, Micah, Goldberg versus who in 2020?
Sting.
Are you really Sting?
No, I'm just playing.
One last time.
Here's the thing. There's a couple parameters that I would need to know before I book Goldberg match for AEW.
Okay.
2 things. Who's going over, and is it his last match ever?
Okay, so what if he tells Mr. Tony Khan, the Snowman, what if he tells him, look, Tony, I'll do the match, but I got to go over. Do you still book that match, Michael?
Yes.
Really?
I think you do. Book it as his retirement match.
What if he says he doesn't want to book it as a retirement match? What if he says he has a few more matches in him?
Well,
what do you do then?
I think you bring him in for a 6-month deal.
He says I'm only working with Hook, and I gotta go over, brother. What do you?
Oh God.
The FTW champion's looking real nice over
there. Oh man, the issue is you've got to have somebody who can lead.
No. No.
Yeah, let me be hateful. You got to have somebody that can lead the match.
There ain't no way that should be a match. If Goldberg comes out of retirement, it has to be at least a minute or 2 minutes. There's no leading the match, Micah. There shouldn't be a 5 or 10 minute match with Goldberg in it.
What about Hobbs?
If Hobbs beats him, okay. But I don't think Goldberg's coming out of retirement to lose.
Okay. I really have to look at the roster to book this.
Would you just sacrifice QT Marshall?
Probably.
Who does that get over? Who's that get over Goldberg?
No. Maybe it'd be like the Big Show match at the All Out 21.
God. What's he doing that night?
Hey!
You still
Goldberg and Big Show. I just don't know, man. There's so many parameters because if he's gonna put somebody over, then I'd say like Wardlow, because that'd probably be a great way to build up Wardlow.
Remember him?
Yeah, he's on the back of your milk cartons, ladies and gentlemen. Or even Hobbs, I would be fine with. But if he's gonna win, that thins the talent pool a little bit.
But
Put
I think
Jericho.
I think Tony would cave though. I really do because he is such a mark for old WCW. He would want Goldberg to go over, man. Man, Sting ain't lost. Has Sting lost any matches since he got signed?
No, that's why the MJF feud is perfect.
So if Goldberg just goes on a 3-year-long undefeated streak.
Oh God, he starts the undefeated streak again. He's like 63.
Oh God. Hey.
Anyways.
Hey, who got that other winning streak in your company? Old Jade, maybe. Man.
Oh, hey, there we go.
There we go.
I'd like to see Jade hit him with a Jaded.
Okay, I'm listening.
You think Goldberg will job to Jade Cargill?
He has to pay for his sins. How he buried the Fiend.
And how he almost killed Undertaker. Anyways, to close us up, I think it's a good move for AEW. I think it's ballsy, but sometimes you got to be ballsy to, prosper. Look at Vince when he did WrestleMania 1. So I think this is a good move for AEW. What do you think that they will get in attendance?
I think they'll get over 40,000.
Okay. I'm going to say 60. I think they can do 60.
Bro, that's crazy, though, because the audience in England is, 200,000 people? So that would mean they're doing 20% of their audience to go to that show?
I mean, yeah, but also think about it like this. Say 200,000 people are watching on the TV, but how many genuine butts in seats are watching that one TV?
Yeah. And I mean, ticket prices got to play a factor in too. Bro, they just slash the prices to these tickets. Why not? Bro, if you're getting a good deal for Wembley Stadium, I would make the tickets dirt cheap. Who cares about that?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about when me and you went to Raw a couple months ago. Two guys that don't even really watch the product hit us up just because, wrestling's in town. I used to like wrestling. So I'm sure, people would be like, hey, man, AEW's coming to town. That's an old wrestling place. Hey, you'll see Sting.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Sting. Hey, you'll see CM Punk or Bryan Danielson or Jon Moxley. I remember these guys. So
Samoa Joe. TNA was hot over there in London. Not London, but England as a whole for a while over there. So I don't know, man. You put Sting and Samoa Joe and guys like you mentioned earlier, you put them on the poster, it'll sell locally. It'll sell.
I think it'll be a good venture for them.
Yeah.
All in all, I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got for the rumors this week. A lot of stuff is happening in the wrestling world. Like the Drew Galloway stuff normally.
Drew McIntyre, excuse you.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm just preparing for the future.
Oh,
the Drew McIntyre stuff would normally be like the top of our rumor card, but now look at this.
Yeah. The draft. We ain't talking about the draft.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that.
We don't
We
know,
can talk about it for a second.
we don't know how it's gonna work, so it's really not much to say. We don't know how they're gonna do
Do
it.
you think? Well, let me ask you this real quick. I was thinking about this on the way home. Do you think they're gonna redo? Like, do you think they're gonna refresh a lot, like the stages, all that, or no?
No, nothing like that. I do think NXT will be involved though. I think that's why they didn't have any post WrestleMania call ups because they're gonna involve NXT in this draft.
Hmm. Roxanne, I'm telling you, she's getting pulled up.
That was the first name you thought of, man. Out of everybody in NXT, you thought of Roxy.
Hey, man,
Jeez.
say what you want to. I see the most clips from that NXT Women's division.
Well, that's because NXT got a lot of talented women over there, but there's a lot of horny guys online that love to
Well,
clips of the women, man.
not that kind of videos of the NXT. I'm talking about like moves, like Soul Ruka. I know nothing about her, but I just know her freaking finishing move looks cool as all get out.
It's a little contrived, but yeah, I'll give you that.
I mean, it's like the lethal injection. It looks cool. And I mean, I can get by as long as you don't
I guess
put your hands in your pockets.
you got to shoot around it though, because you're standing there while she's climbing the turnbuckle slowly.
Well, a good forearm. I'll give you a little concussion real quick. I don't know. She might have been the first one that popped in my head. Maybe Braun Breaker, but you always tell me he's not ready. They're not going to pull Carmelo up because he just won the title. So, like, what male are they going to pull up? Pretty Deadly?
You got Cameron Grimes, pretty deadly. You could bring up Joe Gacy. Uh, you got
Waller?
yeah, Grayson Waller. He's not bad. You got Andre Chase. You got some decent guys down there, man, that could do some good things on the main roster. Cameron Grimes has been missing too for like 6 months, and I read a rumor that he's ready to be called up. He's just waiting on creative. So maybe this draft, this is his chance to get on the main roster.
And I could see them doing that and then cutting some of the main roster fat that they have because, that way to save on some money
Yeah.
after the big acquisition we talked about earlier.
Sorry, Dana Brooke, you gotta go.
Well, Raw rolls on, and Raw rolled on this Monday, April 10th. And I think the appropriate title would be Raw is Recaps because somehow, even with my Hulu not recording the episode, and it was only an hour and a half if I watched the Hulu version, I still got recaps in this episode. So,
Yeah.
my God, they cannot help themselves.
Bro, Raw is empty. There was nobody at the show. What do you mean? Half the roster was missing.
Was there like a storm or something?
I don't know, man. Flight delays, flight problems. I really don't know. But it was supposedly it hindered a lot of the show. They had a lot of rewrites, and not because Vince was back, it's because most talent was gone, getting to the show late.
Yeah, I know Sammy and Riddle, I heard, actually arrived. I mean, I'm sure they were there a little before their, scene at the end of the movie. But I heard they didn't get there too much before that. Like,
Yeah.
I think within the last hour of Raw, they actually got there. So,
Yeah, man, you gotta give them some credit for getting a show together that last minute like that. I mean, a 3-hour program, Micah. That's a lot to rewrite on the fly.
well, they did it last Monday, and that was just that old Vincent's whim.
Oh, Vinnie Mac over there, Vincenzo McMahon.
Vincenzo with his mustache and his just for men. Well, to start off Raw, Rey Mysterio came out and he cut a promo in the ring talking about, kind of the same stuff he's been talking about the past couple weeks, but he basically alluded to the backlash match that's going to happen. Started talking about Dom interrupts, they go back and forth, Finn Balor comes out, segues into a match, but we'll first talk about the Rey promo. One scoop that I had for this was we pretty much got confirmation that Bad Bunny is going to wrestle at Backlash. So I think that's good. It's good for the business, gets eyes on the product. And you tell me all the time he's the most popular artist in the world.
Bro,
So
the,
shoot, that's Logan Paul.
the crowd is going to be electric for Bad Bunny. Like, he is beloved in Puerto Rico. Bro, it's going to be crazy. And you know how Puerto Rican, not to sound like that guy, but Puerto Ricans are a very passionate group of people, man, judging by, the wrestling territory they put together out there. Man, it's gonna be a scene out there.
Have they ever had a pay per view in Puerto Rico?
New Year's resolution. It was New Year's resolution 2005.
Dang.
Yeah,
Well, see, man, they're branching out a little bit.
I
So
think it was '06. Might have been '06. Was that? I think Edge's cash in was that night.
that would have been '06 if that's
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
Your history is usually better than mine.
Well, hold up now. You fact checked me on a few times on this podcast, and I was very much wrong.
Well, I mean, I was only 4 when that happened, so
Okay, it was '05. I was right.
oh, okay. See, look at you.
Yeah,
Well, anyways, I think it'll be a good show though. Well, I won't say it'll be a good show. I think it's a good thing that Bad Bunny will be there. That will at least get me a little
the
interested.
crowd would make the show a lot better though, because an invested crowd can make any show look at least halfway decent.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's why AEW to me, sometimes they get like just kind of scapegoated because they have a hot crowd.
Yeah, unless you got Orange Cassidy wrestling, and there's no excuses for it.
Nah,
I don't care who's
well.
cheering that guy, that goof. I'm not watching it.
So, slams for the Rey Mysterio promo. Do you have anything?
Nah, well, yeah, yeah. He slipped up a little bit at the beginning and a little bit later on in that same promo, but he still got heat, man. So he did his
You talking
thing.
about Dom?
Yeah, Dom. I mean, yeah, he did his thing. But the scoop. I got one scoop for this segment,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
and I don't think it happened during the segment. Maybe it was before the segment, but beside the point. Point is, Corey Graves did mention that there was travel issues. So I'm glad they didn't just ignore that. They actually did mention they had an out, in my opinion. Usually they don't mention stuff like that. Like real world stuff that happens, they usually just pretend like it doesn't exist. But they did acknowledge it, so that's, I guess, a scoop.
Yeah, the only time I can remember it is when they did that first like Raw Super show when they were doing a European tour and the plane got stuck because a volcano erupted. So they had to call in like the SmackDown guys because it was like a Raw European tour. So then that's when they kind of like ended the brand split because they did that and they're like, oh wait, we could just do this and nobody would care.
I forgot all about that, but they did do that a few years ago too when it was the Saudi Arabia. I think it was the first Saudi Arabia show, maybe the second one. I don't know. But there was travel issues with most of the talent roster. So they called up a bunch of NXT guys to have like a cross promotional show. So it was SmackDown versus NXT pretty much the whole night. And Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan had a really good match in the main event. But yeah, it hasn't happened in a while, the travel issue. You figure it happened more often though, with how much they
Yeah,
travel.
yeah. It's like yeah. Basically, you hit on that. I mean, 52 weeks out of the year, something's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Um, well, after that, it segued into Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio, and I didn't have any scoops for this one. In my opinion, it wasn't a bad match. I feel like I've seen it a lot, and I don't know, man. Coming out of WrestleMania, I usually like this is just a personal thing. I like for the stories to be kind of wrapped up, and I understand why that they're still doing this one because they have the Puerto Rico show coming up. But it kind of just feels like a lot of the storylines just continued straight out of WrestleMania, and I don't like that.
Well,
Just
that's
personally.
that's usually a thing though. The name of the pay-per-view is WrestleMania Backlash. Micah, you should expect this.
I mean, yeah, but it's fine with one or two. Like, if it was just this feud, then that's one thing. But, like, this feud's going on. The Cody stuff is still happening.
Hold up now. Hold up. He's not feuding with Roman directly now.
Yeah, but he's still talking about him every promo.
You want to forget all about Roman? He still got it on the back burner. It's simmering. He's got
Yeah.
to finish some stuff up with Brock first though.
We'll get there. We'll get to that one. Do you have any scoops for this one?
Nah, I just thought it was a okay match. Crowd was into it. I don't like Balor. I like Ray, but like you said, it was predictable. You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you knew Dom was going to cheat. Oh, wow, Finn Balor wins. Wow. I mean, it's just. Yeah. Also, where's the LWO? Maybe they were involved in the travel issues. So I give them that excuse.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, speaking of needing help, Lita needed some help in the back because she was blindsided by somebody, an undisclosed source, and Liv and Raquel were back there, who were later challenging for the tag titles. So you would think it would be them, but the way they were acting, it probably wasn't them. This basically was just a setup for Trish to defend the titles with Becky. So, what do you think about this one? Because
I liked how they justified the camera being back there. Like they had an interview going on already, and then they just hear the commotion in the back. So the camera rushes over there to see what happened. I like that they did that. Because, usually, man, they'll have something going on. The cameraman's already back there. Like, how did the cameraman get back there already? Did y'all know this attack was coming? And if you knew an attack was coming, why didn't you save the person that was about to get attacked? So I appreciate that they tied up some loose ends with that. I like that. As far as the whole segment go, I don't know, man. This ain't my favorite on the show. I don't know, man. What you think?
it ain't.
Yeah, it ain't for me.
Yeah, it ain't butter in my biscuit.
I don't know.
I agree. Now that you mention it, the camera work is good, and I like stuff like that. Because, as you said, it kind of ties everything together and makes it feel like a more real product, not just like, oh my God, now we're panning backstage. What? Who's attacking Stone Cold Steve Austin? How did we know? But so I get that, but like you said, this segment, this whole thing, I'm sorry, but Lita and Trish are cooked. Yeah, that's just, I got love for them. My historian's sake for what they did and what they used to could do, but they can't do it no more.
Yeah, my pre-pubescent self loved Lita and Trish, man, but at 2023, man, I don't know. I hope this is their last runs here.
I think that's what they're building to. And speaking of, this would end up segueing into the tag team title match for the championships. Becky and Trish versus Liv and Raquel. I'll start us off with the scoops. The match was definitely here. We just kind of talked about that 2023 is not the year of Lita and Trish. However, I thought the ending was done well, and the right thing to do was Trish taking the pin, because as we'll get to, Trish turned on Becky at the end, and it kind of, I don't know, because sometimes in wrestling, you're like, why would they go out there and team with them if they're just going to turn on them at the end? But if you think about it, Trish technically cost her the belt by not kicking out. So, I mean, I thought that was at least a nice tie-in. Maybe I'm trying to eyeball this too much to pull some kind of positive out of having to witness this.
You got to give me my flowers too, Mike. I called this. I did.
You did. I thought about it when I was watching it. I was like, yeah, here we go.
I thought it was gonna happen at WrestleMania, but it happened here. But I don't know if you noticed this, Micah, but they kind of telegraphed this turn from a mile away. Did you notice how Trish and Becky were positioned on camera side? Like their backs was against the hard camera. You know that's usually where the heels stand in a tag match. Do you notice that? Oh, I knew.
I didn't pick up on it, but when you pointed that out to me, I get it now.
It was because you never see that. Baby faces are always facing the hard cam, or facing the hard cam, and the heels are got their backs turned to the hard cam. But Trish and Becky had their backs turned the whole match, and I was like, oh, okay, something's about to happen. Something's happening here.
I thought.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I thought when you were talking about them telegraphing it was them being in the ring for so long after. I was like, okay, at this point, we know what's coming.
Yeah, and I think the referee kind of repositioned them at the end there too. Like they kind of switched spots. You could kind of tell something about to go down.
Something I also put down as a slam because she didn't even. I don't even think she fully made contact.
No, she barely grazed her back. Did you like the match though?
There was one thing that bothered me about it. It wasn't bad. It was background TV. Honestly, I wasn't paying super attention to it because I knew what it was going to be. I knew Becky's going to do most of the work because Trish is, in the later stages of her career. Liv really isn't great, and Raquel's all right in a decent environment. But why? This is one of my slams. Why are they challenging for the titles? Because didn't they lose at WrestleMania to Shayna and Ronda?
Well, Micah, they won the number one contenders match last week.
Oh well, missed me.
They had a match with Io and Dakota on Raw last week for the number one contenders spot.
But why weren't Ronda and Shayna in that?
Well, I think Ronda's still hurt, so maybe that's their out.
Okay, well.
Did you really want Ronda and Shayna in this match, man?
No, but they could have put Liv and Raquel over at Mania if they were going to do this.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe Ronda had contractual obligation to win at WrestleMania. I don't know, man.
That don't work for me, brother.
But this match, I fast forward through a lot of this match, Mike. I'm not gonna lie to you, not gonna lie to the audience. I did catch the last about 5 minutes of this match, and God, was it clunky, man. Botches all over the place. Liv botching, Raquel taking forever to set up for a Tower of Doom suplex. I don't know if she was out of position, but it looked so stupid when Becky and Trish are just standing there on the second rope with Liv on the other side, setting up for a superplex. And then it takes Raquel 30 minutes to walk over there to position herself for the Tower of Doom spot. Man, it sucked. It didn't make any sense. It killed my suspension of disbelief. This match sucked, man. Terrible. Garbage.
That's one thing about a lot of women's matches, and the men are victim too, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they just try and do stuff that takes too long to set up.
Overly contrived.
And there's just no sense in it.
No, and then it feels like they're doing it at half speed.
Yeah.
Man,
just stick to what you're good at.
I'm not trying to be a hater of women's wrestling, man. I'm really not, because I really enjoyed that Rhea Charlotte match from WrestleMania, but this and most of the matches that happens on the week-to-week television, they mostly suck. Really bad.
Yeah. We'll get to one later.
Well, you will, because I didn't see that.
Oh, well.
It's amazing.
I won't either, because I didn't see it.
It's amazing that made it to the Hulu version. But
I know,
Bronson
right? I was
Reed,
like,
Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley didn't.
I know. I might have to go back and watch that one because I actually want to see that. Well, anyways, Trish is heel now. They're not the champions anymore. We'll see where they go. I'll see it. I'm not gonna be interested, but I'll see it.
I'm intrigued how Trish is going to be perceived as a heel in 2023 because I don't think people want to boo Trish, man.
That's true. Maybe they should have turned Becky.
Are people going to boo Becky?
I mean, they started booing her towards the end of Big Time Bex.
But did they really hate Becky?
No, they just love to boo her.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Becky ain't doing it for me right now either, just being honest with you. I think since she came back after her match at WrestleMania against Bianca, it has not worked.
Yeah,
Or not WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
creative has failed her too with this damage control garbage. I was hoping,
Yeah.
praying that damage control was dead after last week, but no, we still have damage control.
Well, they're working towards it.
I guess.
Paul Heyman was in the back next with the female announcer, and I don't really know how much you paid attention to this. Well,
No respect for the female announcer, huh?
no, I try to remember her name, but I can't remember it. I know,
Was it
is
Kathy?
it Kayla?
Was it Kathy?
Kathy Kelly. Yeah. See? Props to Kathy Kelly. I'm sorry I didn't remember your name.
Wow.
I don't know how much you even really paid attention to this. This was a weird Heyman promo because I normally look forward to it. He stumbled over his words a couple times and he like repeated. You didn't see it at all?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I did see it, but I don't remember. I didn't write anything down for it.
She asked him a question about Brock Lesnar and he was like, "Oh, you want to know about Brock Lesnar? Well, let me tell you something about Cody Rhodes." Huh? And he said nothing about Brock Lesnar the rest of the time. And he like mocked her voice too. I don't know. It just all I wrote really was that it just was not his best.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know, man. I didn't catch it.
Well, I guess we'll move on. I don't know. It just
I'm surprised that made it to the Hulu version, man, honestly.
they put random thing. Remember that time I had to watch the Hulu version and I missed Ziggler versus Gable?
Yeah.
They make the most like random stuff in the Hulu version. Nor do they cut out like Dominic stuttered a couple times. And I was like, wouldn't you cut that out if you can trim the fat, wouldn't you? But I don't know. Maybe they didn't have time.
Yeah, I don't think you can cut that out.
Well, speaking of cutting things out, Damage Control was in the back. Bayley was trying to get a women's world title match. She ended up putting Io in there because Io and Dakota were like, it's time for us to shine. So, as I alluded to earlier, I think they're working towards a split, which is best for everybody.
Probably not Dakota. She's going to flounder.
Well, every group's got a Janetti.
Yeah, you're right, man. But Janetti, that's really more his fault because the company did push Janetti for a little while. They made him IC champion. He couldn't get out of his own way, man. He got fired like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, they even brought him back as the New Rockers with Al Snow.
They brought him back in 06. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He actually did get signed after the program with Sean and Kurt Angle. Marty Jannetty got signed, and he lasted like 2 weeks, and they fired him again.
How old was he by that point?
He was around Sean's age.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess that's true. Probably like late 30s, 38, 39.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to, as usual, the most interesting thing on Raw is recaps. Cody Rhodes came out, and we didn't really review Raw last week, so...
I was burned out of wrestling. That was on me, folks. Man, I cleansed myself of all wrestling that week. I did not watch Raw, did not watch Dynamite, didn't catch SmackDown. I was burned out. So you might know more about last week's show than I do.
Well, I think I watched an hour of Raw and it sucked pond water, and then I heard like nothing got better, so I never went back and watched it. I watched the first hour of Dynamite and then just caught clips for the rest of it. So it wasn't completely on you, man. I was also burned out. And it was a holiday weekend, so I knew I was going to be busy.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like watching 8 hours of wrestling on a Saturday and then recording and then doing Easter festivities the next day. So sorry about the lack of an episode last week, but here we are. Cody Rhodes was supposed to team with Brock Lesnar. They get to the main event. Brock Lesnar turns on Cody, beats him up, and pretty much has no motive as of right now, other than he was unhappy with his spot on the WrestleMania card.
That's funny though.
I mean, I guess it's a Brock Lesnar response. Like, I can buy that.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you be a little mad at that, Micah?
Wouldn't you be mad if you had to wrestle Omos?
Well, at least you didn't have Bray, I guess.
Hey, so you're on that train now?
No, I'm just saying nobody had Bray that night. So few got dropped.
I thought you had found your brain, maybe.
It's still
lost.
It's still with the White Rabbit.
Anyways, the scoop I had, I mean, Cody cut a good promo, and again, I enjoyed it. It's always the best thing about Raw. I feel bad for him. His last two programs, he's had to carry the feud because he's been shackled against guys who aren't there on a week-to-week basis.
Yes, but a different side of the coin, he's been shackled with two of the biggest stars in the business.
But he lost to Roman.
He did lose, but not outright. He didn't just get jabroned in the middle of the ring. I mean, he had an out. And now he's with the other biggest star in the business, Brock Lesnar, which he's probably going to win this. We don't know, but he's probably going to win. And beating Brock Lesnar is something that a lot of guys can say since he's been in the company in 2002. Man, how many guys have beaten Brock Lesnar clean?
I don't know.
It's got to be single digits, man. Got to be.
I wonder what his win-loss record is just as a whole.
Since he's got back, he hasn't lost much.
Shoot, I want to know even before then. Let's see here. Brock Lesnar's win-loss. No, this can't be right. He had more matches than that, certainly.
Go to cage match. They usually keep stats on stuff like that.
Yeah. So his total number of matches. Oh my God, that is so much less than I thought it was going to be. He's had a total 431 matches.
And that was probably most
winning.
That was probably most from his first run, 2002, 2004.
Yeah. Since he came back in 2012, he has only had over 10 matches a year 3 times. 2018, 2017, and 2016.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 2002, he did 141. 2003, he did 137. 2004, he did 18. But anyways, his total number of wins is 311. His total number of losses is 112. Draws is 8. So he has a win percentage of 72%.
And of those losses, how many are countouts, F finishes? I mean, come on, man. Like, the amount of people that has pinned him clean has to be very, very low.
So we did continue this conversation, but we ran into some technical difficulties, and for some reason it didn't capture our audio right here. So this is the end of the Raw and Rumors episode, and I will go ahead and pitch to myself to close out this episode. But anyways, go ahead, check us out. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is at Scoop Slam Pod. Facebook is the Scoop Slam Podcast. So go check that out. Share it with your friends. Share episodes with your friends. Discuss in our comments. We'll talk to you. And make sure to enjoy your weekend. We'll be back next week with a Raw and Rumors to start us off. And thank you for listening. Have a great one.